to the other side, that's going to be the shoulder measurement. Hello everyone, Mike here for Wild Frontier Goods, and this is another weekly update video. In this video I'm going to talk about Kakishibu dyeing and also how we measure the shirts and the coats that we make. So first things first, the Kakishibu dyeing. The Kakishibu, which is the Japanese for persimmon, the persimmon fruit. The Kakishibu dye is one of my personal favorite dyes for a couple of reasons. I love the color, and also I love the way natural Kakishibu ages. It's a fermented dye. It comes from the unripened kaki persimmon fruits. So you take the juice of the small green unripened persimmons, you extract the juice, you let it ferment for maybe about a year, and then you can have a natural Kakishibu dye. It's a UV activated dye, meaning that I have to have sunlight to deepen the color. Therefore, the time it takes to dye something is completely weather dependent. It's the most time consuming natural dye that we use. But the more time you put into it, the more beautiful an item comes. If you have something that's naturally Kakishibu dyed and you do not wash the color out with harsh detergents, then it will continue to deepen over time. It's a little bit similar to leather in that regard. So my sweatshirt that I'm wearing, this is natural Kakishibu dyed, and it's maybe 3 or 4 years old at this point, and I don't wash it often, but you can kind of see a little bit of the color difference. It's not the same fabric, so you can't really make an accurate comparison, but it's safe to say that maybe this jacket will kind of look a little bit like this over time. Depends how often the person washes it and how hard they wear it, but it'll probably deepen a little bit over the arms and shoulders and just areas that receive a lot of direct UV light. You can see the difference between the inside and the outside. Also, the pocket flaps and maybe a little bit under the collar. So any of the areas that are not under direct sunlight, they don't darken as much. So it's a really, really interesting dye. There's a long traditional history of Kakishibu dye use in Japan. They not only use it for a clothing dye, but it's also used as a wood paint and a wood sealant. There's some benefits. A natural bug repellent, similar to indigo. It is antifungal and antibacterial. So if you have a jacket that's dyed with Kakishibu, you don't really have to wash it that often. I don't wash the clothing that I have that's Kakishibu dyed with soaps. I'll just lightly rinse them in water and then let them hang dry in the sunlight. The colors are so beautiful. Over time, this jacket has potential to look really, really interesting. It's one of my all-time favorite natural dyes for sure. There's been a few companies the past few years that have released like an indigo Kakishibu denim, or they have like some Kakishibu dyed items. That's not real Kakishibu. So the way that those garments will age compared to like the real natural hand-dyed Kakishibu is going to be totally different. So just keep that in mind. This should be finished within the next week, hopefully. But so far, so good. Also, belts. I've made a lot of belts this week. One of them is this Blackburn belt. And I want to talk about this belt specifically or the Blackburn belt specifically, because it is a hand-painted leather. So I use a couple of different black leathers. One of them is the hand-painted, hand-dyed black leather, and another one is the factory-colored black leather dye. So it's the same leather, it just has a different method for coloring. One is colored in the factory, the tannery, and one is painted and colored by me. Now the difference is the factory leather is going to hold its color for longer. The hand-painted leather is going to fade and rub off, not quick, but you know, a little bit faster compared to the factory black dye. If you want a black belt and you want the color to hold longer, then I would recommend just the, you know, factory colored black leather. If you want something that has a little bit more of a color fading potential over time, then any of the hand painted leathers that I do will, you know, age like that. If you're familiar with T-core leather, then this will age a little bit similar to a T-core leather. Another black leather that I use is the Italian black leather. Now the difference between the Italian black leather and the Japanese black leather, the main difference is the Italian leather is core dyed, so it's black throughout the leather. The Japanese leather is only surface dyed. So if you look at the cross section, you can still see the natural core of the leather, whereas the Italian, it's black throughout. So that's the main difference. Also, the Italian leather comes from a different part of the animal compared to the Japanese leather. So there's some different characteristics because of that. But I'll save that for a different video. But moving into the next week, I'm still working on some of the same things I've been working on. Cordovan belt, another double-sided belt, meaning, you know, it's layered, two, you know, pieces of leather layered together and then hand stitched. Also working on a Cordovan trucker wallet, which is really nice. And then Nordy, she's got a few Sashko shirts and a duster coat. But speaking of shirts and coats, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we measure the shirts and coats. Okay, so how we measure the coats, for example, you have the seam on the shoulder, and where that seam meets the arm seam, you just draw a straight line and go all the way across to the other side. And normally you're going to want to do this, you know, it's easier to just lay it flat on the ground. But this seam here, where the shoulder seam meets the arm, and that straight line to the other side, that's going to be the shoulder measurement. The chest measurement is just pit to pit. So if you were to lay this flat on the ground, then you would have pit to pit. That is the chest measurement. The length is from the collar seam all the way down to the bottom. That's going to give you the length. And the sleeve length is from the shoulder seam all the way down. So that's how we measure. Yeah. So I think that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, just send us a message. Thank you very much.